Today's tutorial is going to be a bit different for my channel. It's going to be a Premiere tutorial, and I'll be showing you a quick way on how to set up captions to be animated the way you see it in many viral shorts and so on. So first off, if you're curious about my layout, if you go into this icon here, you can actually change it to different layouts, and I'm going to be working with vertical. I find it kind of nice to have the screen on my right here and everything on the left. Okay, so let's start off with creating the captions. So I have me saying this, how to animate captions in Premiere Pro. Yeah, that's me. So what we're gonna do is go into the text tab here, and you've got something called create captions from transcript. Now this is automatically going to create the captions, so you don't have to type them out. And you do have a bunch of options for language and so on. What I usually like to do is go in here and set the maximum length in characters to something like 12. The minimum duration, I'll just lower it right about here, and I won't touch the gap here and set it to single. So it created these captions here. How to animate captions in Premiere Pro. So this works quite well. Now what I usually like to do is select them all. I'll go into the essential graphics, edit, and let's bring them to the center here. We can also change the font if we want to. So this one, for example, scale up the text, and I'll also make it uppercase, so we have it like so. You can obviously do this later on as well, but once you're done designing this, you can go into graphics and titles and select upgrade captions to graphic, which basically turns it into a text layer. Now the first animation we're going to be creating is a simple scale up at the beginning. So we'll go into the effects here and search for transform, and I'll drop it into my first layer. Let's go to the very first frame, and now we'll go into the effects control. Let's hit the stopwatch on the scale, set it to 90. I'll go forward 2 frames using the arrow keys and set it to 100. So once I play this back now, it's going to have this bounce at the beginning, and we don't have to do this in all of them. We're simply going to copy the first one once we've animated it and paste them right here. So now you can see the same bump at the beginning is happening in each one of these. So this will be the first animation. Now the second option would be to create this sort of a slide animation. Now this is done in a similar way. So I'm going to be using the transform. I'll go to the first frame here. Let's set the stopwatch on our position. We'll go 1 frame forward, set a keyframe here, and go back to the first frame. And I'm going to bring this up like so. And here under the shutter angle, I'm going to set it to something like 200, which is basically applying motion blur. Now in the same way, I'm going to copy this transform and paste it onto these layers. So now we've got this kind of animation, which we've often see in shorts. And now the final third animation, we're going to be using an effect called morph cut. Now, once we select this effect, we can drop it in between 2 layers, and we're going to shorten it like so. It's going to take a second here. So basically what that does is if we play this, you can see that it's basically morphing into the next slide. Now, obviously we don't want to do this one by one on each of these layers. So what we're going to do is select the morph cut here, right click and select default. Now we'll go into edit, preferences, timeline. And here under the video duration default, I'm going to set it to 5 frames. So basically now each transition by default is going to be only 5 frames long, so we don't have to shorten it. Now to apply this to all of these, I'm going to select them and hit Ctrl D. So now you can see we have a transition between each one of these, and it's the morph cut. The only thing we need to do is select the first one, right click it, select clear, and do the same on the final one here. So once we play this back, so this was a bit of a different tutorial for me. I hope you found this useful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.